But now I'll rise above you.
Swazdula, you dirty sock snifflers, how the hell are you? Right, so we all know that in a recent dev stream, DE was talking about let's entertain the idea and call it a problem. The problem between the massive performance difference between guns in the game and melee in the game. And for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and just entertain the idea that yes, that is a problem. And there we go, the UI is fucking bugged again. No, there it goes, great. So let's entertain the idea and call it a problem. The thing is that DE doesn't like that melee hopelessly outperforms guns in every way in this game, and in a sense I guess that might be a bit of a shame, if anything, because it kind of limits players' choice when it comes to which loadouts to use. For some players, they might want to use their boltors or their somas or their bows or whatever guns, but when you get to a certain enemy level, they just don't cut it anymore. None of them do, right? So all of these choices in here, all of this here becomes irrelevant, and all of the choices in here also become irrelevant unless you're priming with viral. Then you'll have a Nucor or an Atamos or something else you can slap viral on in here, probably. So it really focuses everybody on using melee only as the meta. Now again, I don't necessarily, as a player myself, I don't necessarily see that as too much of an issue. It's something that they should and could definitely tackle, but maybe sometime further down the line, not necessarily now. But here we are, and they are tackling it. Now, DE's issue with melee, for one, is a little bit the melee speed, which is a whole other behemoth of a topic myself, which I think I've already spoken about in a video as well. If not, I can go ahead and make a video on that and show you guys why melee speed should definitely not be touched, but here we are, and DE wants to nerf it a little bit, probably, hopefully not too much, but in any case, that's what it is. But here's what makes me nervous and what I want to talk to you guys about today. We know it is established that all of the guns fall off at a certain level, and you have to rely on your melee in order to sufficiently destroy the enemies fast enough, right? I mean, this is, after all, a horde shooter, or in this case, more accurately, a horde slasher. Okay, we all know that. That's fine. What makes me nervous, though, as a player, is that I hear DE wants to fix this issue with mods. Now, DE doesn't have a very good history of doing cool things with mods, okay? Because we still have mods in the game like Suppress and Ammo Drum and all these other mods that nobody ever uses for no reason ever, and DE continues to add new mods into the game that also nobody ever uses. So it makes me a little bit nervous that they want to tackle the problem of this versus this with mods yet again. Again, this is information from their dev stream, and that makes me a little bit nervous. So in order to get to the point, I'm going to go ahead and try to illustrate the problem that that DE is facing right quick. So here we have a gun. This happens to be the Boltor. It doesn't matter. You're a new player, you're looking at this, or a veteran, it doesn't matter, and you want to put damage on this gun here. Okay, so the first thing that you can do is go in here and type in damage. It would help if you spell it right, though. You type in damage. Let's put in all of the damage increasing mods that we have available for primary gun for a second. We have heavy caliber, okay? Straight up 165% damage increase, okay? Okay, cool. We have, of course, Serration, which everybody's probably going to be using anyways. Again, 165% more damage. Very good. Okay, what else do we have? We have Hammer Shot. Hammer Shot increases the critical damage. The critical damage multiplies the damage down here. So again, that's a straight damage increase. What else do we have? We have Vital Sense. Again, more critical damage, which multiplies this damage down here. Okay, cool. What else do we have in terms of damage? Nothing. That's about it. Okay, so this is pretty good though. That's about it. Now, of course, you could put in your Banes here, the Bane of Corpus, Bane of Grenier, and all that stuff. You could put those in there, of course. They will increase the damage, but we're talking just straight damage increasing in terms of numbers without any assistance for now, okay? These would increase it, but for now, this is what we've got. Okay. What other mods do we have that can increase the damage of our guns? Well, multi-shot. Guns have multi-shot, so here we have our split chamber, multi-shot, we have more damage, and we'll slap on Vigilante as well, and we'll also have more damage. Okay, so now we have all the damage mods that we can possibly have on a gun. This is just an example gun, it's the same with everything, right? These are all of the mods that we have available with which we can increase this damage directly, or via one corner with the crits, directly increasing this damage. We're left with 2 slots. Now, what would a player do with these 2 slots? Well, you could say utility, like for example, you could put in your Hunter Munitions in here. The only thing that Hunter Munitions does though is it converts the shitty damage types into the only damage type that is actually good, which is slash, right? These two are not good. The impact is horrible and puncture is alright, but only against Grineer. Outside of Grineer, puncture damage is also meh. Slash damage is king and always has been, and the only thing that Hunter Munitions does is convert trash, basically, into good damage, alright? But it would work, but just so that we understand. You could slap that in there. You could put the Banes in there, or you could go ahead and say, alright, I'm going against Grineer, so I'm going to mod for Corrosion as an example. So here you have Corrosion now, and Grineer really don't like Corrosion, but that's about it. That's pretty much about it. Those are pretty much your limitations. The limitations is this: you have maximum damage potential right here, and now you have 2 slots left with which you can assist that this damage does well against Grineer. No way in hell to make that work against, let's say, level cap Steel Path or something like that. There's just, you can't do it, okay? Alright, let's leave this gun as is for now, and go over to melee, and do the same operation. So we have a melee, this happens to be the dual Iker for me, and again, we'll go down here and we'll type in damage. Okay, so what do we have that straight up increases melee damage? Here we have the melee version of Serration. Prime Pressure Point. Okay, so straight up more melee damage across the board. Beautiful. What else do we have? Let's see here. We have Gladiator Might, that's critical damage. Okay, so up here, that multiplies the damage down here. We're doing the same thing that we just did with the gun. Alright, what else do we have? Let's see here. Spoiled Strike, I believe. Yep, there we go. So Spoiled Strike also straight up increases the direct damage that you do, so this down here. Okay, that's really nice. What else do we have? Let's have a look-see. That is about it. Alright, so now we could also look at only critical damage, and see if there's anything else in there that I may have missed. I think I missed one here. There we go, Organ Shatter. Okay, so now we have maximum critical damage, and we're about set. This is about the best that we can do. I'm going to go ahead and put it this way just so it's more clean. So now we're at the same point as we were with the gun earlier. We have the maximum damage potential right here. We can't increase the melee damage any further than this, similar to the way we just simulated it with the gun, right? Okay, and yet we have 4 slots, 4 full slots left with which we can decide what we want to do with. Sure, we can go ahead and build for things like Smite Corpus and stuff like that. We can increase the individual impact, puncture, and slash damages. We can do all of those things, sure, but just overall increasing damage, this is where we reach a dead end, right? And here's why and where melee takes the cake, single-handedly. Blood Rush and Condition Overload. These two mods are single-handedly responsible for melee being as damn good as they are. And I'm not saying they're overpowered, please nerf. I'm saying these are the reasons why melees are so good, along with smaller, less significant factors, sure. And these exact 2 mods is exactly what guns don't have, not even close. So, what does this mod do, for example? Blood Rush increases the critical chance according to your critical multiplier. Okay, critical multiplier is what we're talking about. Alright, well, let me go over here and show you guys real quick. I want you to look at the bottom right corner of my screen. Right above all of my melee values and my Warframe abilities. When I hit this enemy, you will see 2, a 4, a 6 now, a 8, and so on. That is a combo counter. And soon you will see a new number, the 2 times multiplier. That is a combo multiplier. Now it's 3, and if we slash the enemies more, it'll increase to 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's the combo multiplier. Okay, that is the combo multiplier. And according to that combo multiplier, Blood Rush increases the critical chance by 60% each time. It'll cap out at 12 times multiplier, so you should get this critical chance times 12. So 12 times 60% extra on top of this. That's what melees can do. This mod alone can catapult a lot of weapons into red crits. Okay? And red crits are multiplied crits, so critical crits, basically. Okay, what does Condition Overload do? 120% extra melee damage per status type affecting a target. Alright, let me get rid of Blood Rush just so that we can look at that. And let's get rid of all of the damage mods as well. Okay, only Condition Overload. What is a status type? Okay, it says 120% extra melee damage per status type that is currently affecting an enemy. This is a status type, this is a status type, this is a status type, this is a status type. So that's, if I were to proc all of these on an enemy, then it would be 120 extra damage, 120 extra damage, 120 extra damage, 120 extra damage, right? So let's go slash some enemies and I'll just show you really quickly. I want you to pay attention to this enemy's health bar. I'll hit him once, there's no proc. Still no proc. Still no proc. Still no proc. See? No procs on him yet. There's an impact. There's an impact and a slash. You see that? Impact and slashes on there. Let's hit him some more. Still impacts and slashes, and he's already dead. So I procced impact and slash on him. That's 2. And thanks to Condition Overload, we get 120% times 2, because 2 status types were on him, as extra additional damage. Okay? So what that would mean is this. Let's look at some status increasing things. We're going to go with Vicious Frost, because that's a status type as well. Volcanic Edge, because that's a status type as well. And Voltaic Strike. Now what do we have over here? We have Corrosion, Blast, Toxin, and your regulars. Okay? And now just to prove a point, I'm going to go ahead and switch this around a little bit and turn it into a shitty damage type for Grineer. Magnetic and Gas. Magnetic and Gas are terrible for Grineer. They're terrible, terrible, terrible. And yet, they are a status type, which will grant me 120% extra damage. Okay? Now, to make these status types occur often, I'm also going to increase the status chance just a little bit further with melee prowess. Okay, extra status chance. So the chance of any of these here occurring is just higher now. That's all. That's all we're going to do. Okay, now let's go attack some of these enemies. You saw I don't have any extra damage mods on here. I don't have shit on here. These are level 175 enemies. This is 75 levels above any naturally occurring enemy difficulty in the game. And look at what happens. I proc my stuff and then they just start to melt. Although I'm doing magnetic, okay? This just demonstrates the mechanics. Look at all those procs on him. He's got 3, and he's bleeding, and he's bleeding, and he's bleeding. Boom. There he goes. Gone. There, he's got, what, 4 statuses on him, and that grants me extra damage, okay? Is this very powerful? Yes, it is insanely powerful. Yes, that is true. But is it a problem? I don't think so. So, what I want to propose for guns can't possibly get close to that. How about we have the gun equivalent of Condition Overload, let's call it Condition Overcharge or Condition Superload, Condition Supercharge, whatever. Make up whatever name you want. And as for Blood Rush, we may have, I don't know, Bloodshot or something. Imagine if you could put a Condition Overload type mod on your guns that would grant you extra damage for each damage type that you proc on an enemy. So if you look at an actual build for a second, on this one I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 120% extra damage on a gun. That would be pretty damn good, and it would also open the door for people to be a little bit more creative with their weapons as well. Same thing goes for Blood Rush, or if we imagine a mod for guns that does the same thing, we could call it Bloodshot. For each status type that's affecting the enemy, it would increase the critical chance, or perhaps even the critical damage, maybe. Who knows? We could play around with that, but just from the idea that the two mods, Blood Rush and Condition Overload, they scale off of something you can produce in this area here, okay, on melee. And guns would require the same thing to have even the faintest chance of getting close. That is my suggestion for helping. I'm not saying this will fix everything, but I'm saying if they're talking about giving if they're talking about giving guns mods to help guns get as good as melee, unless they do something similar to a Blood Rush for guns, or similar to a Condition Overload for guns, they're hopeless. They won't succeed. They can't succeed, right? And my prediction is that whatever mods they produce are going to be pretty crappy. In fact, they're probably going to be something lame like, I don't know, like Hunter Munitions, for example. Some kind of version of this, or something generic. I have no faith that they're going to have proper mods, because I haven't heard them speak or even think about anything. I haven't seen any information anywhere suggesting that they're considering a type of Blood Rush or a type of Condition Overload for these guns. That's why I don't think that they're going to make it. Something else that they could probably think about doing is doing something like a former covert lethality mod for special guns such as bows and sniper rifles, which would mean headshot insta-kill, no matter what their level is, which is exactly what covert lethality used to do on enemies you perform a finisher on with daggers only. Something like that, perhaps. Outside of these suggestions, I don't believe that DE can fix this problem with mods alone unless they significantly change the stuff over here. And yet, here we are. As of uploading this video, if I actually make it in time, they probably already released it, and this video might be a little bit outdated, but the suggestion is still out there. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have confidence that they're going to have really cool mods? What kind of mods would you like to see to fix the gun power, or what would you do to guns to make them better in the first place? Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are. I'm very curious to hear and see this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace the fuck out, and also fuck off.